Have you ever seen an ant carrying something much heavier than itself? Most people ignore it, but hidden inside that tiny creature is a lesson powerful enough to change your life forever. Listen carefully, because after this story, you'll never look at an ant the same way again. On a hot summer afternoon, a tiny ant found a grain of food nearly 10 times bigger than its own body. It grabbed the grain and started walking toward its colony. A few steps later, it hit a small rock. The grain slipped. The ant fell. It got up, tried again. A few more steps. A strong gust of wind pushed it backward. Once again, the grain rolled away. If it were a human, that would have been the perfect excuse to quit. But the ant didn't know the word quit. Picked up the grain again. This time it found a narrow crack in the ground. The grain wouldn't fit. Tried pulling. Tried pushing. It walked around looking for another path. Minutes turned into hours. The sun started setting. Many other insects had already returned home, but the ant kept going. Finally, after dozens of failures, it found a tiny slope leading around the crack. Slowly, patiently, step by step, it reached its colony. The other ants surrounded it. Not because it was the strongest, not because it was the fastest, but because it refused to stop. Now think about your own life. How many dreams have people abandoned after the first failure? How many businesses ended before they had a chance to succeed? How many talented people gave up simply because the journey became difficult? The ant never asked, "Is this too hard?" It only asked, "What's the next step?" That's why nature made one of the smallest creatures one of the greatest symbols of persistence. Remember this, success doesn't belong to the smartest. It doesn't belong to the richest. It belongs to the people who keep moving when everyone else has stopped. Be like the ant. Carry your dream, no matter how heavy it feels. Fall 100 times if you have to, because the world doesn't remember how many times you failed. It only remembers the day you refused to give up. And finally one, never stop. Your legacy begins the moment you refuse to give up. Fire.